Hey, it's been a while. So, welcome back to LS Garage. It's been quite a while since I've done a video. Last video I did, actually the last video that I recorded was when I bought this car that's right behind me, this red C5. Bought it back. It's the same car that I owned a few years ago. It's been a bit since I did that video. I bought that car back in end of January, early February of 23. So it's now coming up into June, mid-June of 2025. So I kind of quit the YouTube thing just because I wasn't really making any money on it. I thought, you know, this is kind of silly. It's a waste of time. But I did a mod recently, modified the car, done a lot to the car actually since I bought it back. And I'll share that in just a minute. But one main thing I did on the car, got a lot of attention on a C5 Z06 FRC group that I'm in on Facebook. So just wanted to do a little step-by-step on how I cut a hole in my hood. So stick around and check it out. So this is a 2000 FRC. If you've been around the channel and saw this car before, it's the same car that I had before, like I mentioned. Done a few things to it. Done quite a bit actually since I purchased it back. It had a different radio in it. I put a different radio in it. It had a little small sub box in the back, had a sub amp, and of course an extreme catback. So I got rid of the Corsa and I put back on a titanium catback. It's got 2-inch C6 primary speed engineering headers on it, which didn't fit for crap. Don't recommend it. Guy that did the work for me said he'd make them fit. Had to lift the motor up. Big pain in the ass on the install. I'm not sure if you have to do it on the 178s on the C5 headers, but anyway, so it was a pain. He got it all in. I'm planning on putting a blower on this car just like I mentioned before when I had it the first time. So that's kind of down the road. But I went ahead and did a 390 diff in this thing. So while he had it apart, he did the exhaust, a 390 diff, and he did flex fuel. So it's got a different fuel pump. I'm going to add an auxiliary fuel pump to it later, like an auxiliary system for the blower when it goes on. But it has 390s in it now. It's a lot more fun to drive. Up in the revs a lot more, just a lot more responsive. So I'll do another video about the other stuff I did, but to sum it up, the other video I'm going to do, or may have already done, I don't know what's going to happen here on the timeline, I tore out the entire interior of the car and I put in sound deadening. So it's quieter in the cabin, it's a lot nicer, which I like. I got rid of that sub box in the trunk and I put in these tins in the partition, built a partition out of wood. It's got 2 tins in it. It sounds pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And I did a doubled in head unit and an MGW shifter with their race knob on it, which I really like. So like really on the top of the threads there, but I like the taller knob. And then I pulled the factory steering wheel and did a Grip Royal. I'd seen these in a C6. I really liked it. Red Stitch Grip Royal, suede, nice Alcantara, whatever. And then I did a Red Stitch boot. So that matches. It's really nice together. I like it a lot. I'm gonna do new seats eventually, but these are okay for now. So that's pretty much where the car left off before I did this next mod. So I had an issue with the car getting hot. It was having problems in the heat back in mid-May. It started getting warm, driving around, sitting in the drive-thru, it'd get up to like 220, 230, 85 degree, 90 degree air, just too hot and to my liking. So I pulled the factory radiator. I think it was the original this thing's got almost 120,000 miles on it, 118,000. Pulled that one out, put a new one in. It's just a stock replacement. I was going to do a DeWitt's. I heard different things about them. We'll try this. We'll try factory. I mean, this thing was $115 to my door. It's not a GM. I was going to try and get a Delco. They're kind of pricey, so I went ahead and just got this basic thing. Don't remember the name of the brand. Don't have the box. I have part of the box, but I don't know. Anyway, it's done really well. I'll do a before and after with this mod I'm about to show you, but the mod I'm going to show you, I'll raise the hood and you can check it out. So I keep the AC in here when it's hot and it condensates on the car. That's why there's a blanket over the hood. So without any further ado, the hood now has a hole in it. So as you guys know, I had a 2015 Camaro, which I'm not really trying to make this look like a 2015 Camaro, but I had a Camaro that I did a turbo build on. I don't remember if I did many videos on that. I think I did a little bit. Did a turbo deal with it, put a 5.3 in it, LC9, single turbo, 4L80 swap, sold that car, bought this Tesla, had the Tesla for 6 months, something like that. The guy that was going to sell this car had it for sale, and I thought, oh, I really want to buy this car back, so I bought it back. I missed the manual, I missed the shifting. I like the shifter placement. To me, these cars are pretty awesome, pretty perfect. I love how they look. Favorite body style C5. So anyway, I was going to do a track spec vent, and I was thinking to myself, you know, I wanted it to look as OEM as possible. I like the track spec style, but I really like this hood on a C6, this hood scoop, whatever vent. So I started looking around, and I finally just randomly saw a guy with a silver Z06 that was for sale. It had a blower on it on Facebook, and he had done this same mod. He had put this hood scoop on a C5. So I was actually able to see how it looked and how it fit. And I thought, you know, I like this look a little better than the track spec because it looks more OEM. So found this actual scoop. I bought it kind of on a whim, thinking, you know, it's Amazon, it's like Walmart, you can return it and whatever. So this scoop is actually a knockoff that some reproduction place makes, and it fits the same way, same hardware, same hole as the factory unit. I don't know if that's a coating that's on it. I don't think it is. I think it's actually ABS. I don't plan on painting it. If I paint it, I'll do it. Hello. If I paint it, I'll do it body color. I don't really mind the black because this car's got lots of black on it. I thought about doing it gloss black, but you know, the wheels are gloss, might tighten a little bit better, but I like the I think I'm going to like the durability of what this is going to offer. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into how I did this so you guys can kind of see what's involved. And this was the main reason for this video, so we'll get started on that. So I'll probably put some still pictures online of what this hood looks like. I don't have it out, or this vent rather, I keep saying hood. I don't have the vent off, obviously, you know, off the car anymore. It's on the car. So this is kind of a after the fact video. But the way this thing works is on these cars, they typically have what's called a drip tray that grabs the water and either channels it down to different areas. So it would directly, you know, drop on the motor, goes on the front corners, back corners, however they have it on a Camaro. You're limited to space on this thing. So my main concern initially was I had plenty of space back here. I had plenty of height. Do a little visual here, if you can see in here. See if this will work. Get in there at all. Probably can't. You have plenty of room. Can I get my sight in there? Probably not the right angle. Anyway, you have plenty of room in the back. So there's really no big concern until you get toward like the front third of this thing. And so you can run it farther back. I thought about doing it back toward this back rail back here, and then it would barely hit that front or be clipped into the front brace. I've heard online that if you put these scoops, track spec vent, whatever, toward the front, the way this thing bottom feeds, it's going to work better when it's pushed more forward. So even though it doesn't really look like it's real forward on the hood, it's about as far forward as I could go. Let me show you what I used. This is really just the earliest stages of trying to figure out if I could do this. So what's in this box is clay bar, and I had a clay bar rolled into a ball. That's right there. Made an oval out of it, kind of ovalized it, and I set it. I made it about 2 inches tall, and 1.5 inches tall, and I set it right in the middle of the bridge. Actually, I think I started in the front. I started right above the word Veraram, right in here, and it only gave me like 3/4 of an inch clearance right at the bend. I thought, you know, that's going to be really tight. So what I ended up doing is I measured from the front to where I ended up cutting the hole, and then I measured the lip edge of what do you have to work with here. Same with the back. So my initial, thinking was as far forward as I can get with a little bit of leeway. This part, the hole cut is actually, I'm sorry, the actual edge of this thing, you've got quite a bit of space here. So you see that front little lip right there, the front little edge of that plastic? You've got basically an inch and a half, I think, from here to the edge. So you've got quite a bit of wiggle room front to back, which is nice. Left and right, I sized it a little bit bigger, about 1/8 of an inch bigger overall. Really, it's probably just the blade cut, and then probably a 1/16 on each side of where this was going to go. So what I did is I determined how far forward I wanted to put it with a little bit of leeway front to back. I can tell you what this is in a minute. I can measure it. I want to say it was like 19 and a half from the hole, and then the back, I think I did, don't quote me, I have to remeasure, but I want to say I did 10 maybe, 10 inches from the back edge of the hood to here, and I'll get the tape out in a minute and measure it. So anyway, that's the first thing I did, is I measured front to back, because the front clearance issue there was the biggest issue, the biggest problem I could see having with this thing. I want to make sure I had it back far enough to clear that. So from there, when you've got this out of the car, I can hopefully find a still of this thing upside down, but you've got a lip to work with, obviously. So this thing has a lip. It also has foam, which it doesn't really grab real well right here, which I'm not thrilled about. I may try and figure out a way to get a little more tension here. I may run another piece of metal, like front to back underneath there somehow, to grab that. It sits really flush in the back, kind of tapers up in the middle, and also it's probably just hood bend between the difference in the cars, because this piece is actually contoured, obviously, for a Camaro. That's what's going on. So you got a really good bite and a really good seal here. It lifts a little bit in the middle, and you got a real good seal in the front. So it's not perfect, but it looks pretty darn good unless you're just right up on it. The front lip, front very edge middle, you see a little gap where the contour of the hood is. Can't really do anything about that. Same thing on the back. I'll show it from inside the car, but there's a little bit of gap. Obviously, you have the body line here in the middle, and so you're going to have a little bit of a pocket of foam. See, they can see it right there, kind of gapped right there. So if that's a big deal to you, food for thought. These, obviously this hood has a body line in the middle of that dip in the middle that carries to the middle of the car. You can see it on the contour of the top. That's there. So if that bugs you, you might reconsider this. But so what I did is this is really rinky dink. I didn't really think of a good way to do it. It's worked pretty well for me. I got blue painter's tape. Here's some leftover blue painter's tape. 2-inch painter's tape. I had turned this thing upside down. Obviously, it's the same thing both front and back. It's mirrored. So turn it upside down. Tape lined it here. Made a tape border all the way around. This is pretty much your overlap. The back, like I said, you have about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches or so to work with here. So that gap right there is your leeway for vertical, I guess you could say, adjustment, front to back adjustment. So I made a tape line all the way around, double thick, all the way around this thing, and then I peeled it off. And I had my daughter, I guess the second time I did this twice, so I double checked it, and it was a little bit off on the corners here. The top corners are a little bit weird. You'll see that if you try and do this, but you have a little bit more room here, and it tapers to here once you flip this thing over. So from there, I got a piece of cardboard, and I transferred the tape onto a large sheet of cardboard. So this is the cardboard sheet. This is actually upside down. I'll show you what I used it for later besides this. And this is actually cut to the tape. So you can see the tape here. I put the tape on it. I cut it out with scissors. It was close enough. Like I said, this isn't exact because your hole doesn't have to be perfect, because you want a little bit of area to adjust it if you want to. I'd suggest doing it fairly tight, just because you don't want it flopping all over the place when you're trying to get it centered, at least placed on the hood. So you've got your template. This is your template. So what I did is, and you can see pictures of this. I'll show pictures in just a second. I laid this where I wanted it, right about there. Something like that. Set it on the hood, taped it, found center. Let me go ahead and flip this over. I use this for my painting wing. I used this side when I painted the hardware, so it's got paint on it. You've got a mark here for center, a mark there for center, and then a mark on the hood. I ran a piece of tape on the hood itself, down the center of it, marked center, left to right, basically just measured each side, measured the width, divided by 2, found center. center, top, and bottom, and then that finds your left and right. Your up and down is ultimately up to you, and you're going to oversize it anyway, so you got that flexibility. So as long as you get a ballpark within about, I want to say I've got about 3/4 of an inch, maybe half an inch to work with, top, front and back. So if I wanted to run this a little bit farther back, I could have. I ran it forward because I wanted to make sure that that front had enough seal to it, because I knew I was going to have a little bit of a gap there. The back isn't as crucial. Obviously, it's going to have that gap no matter what you do, just because of the contour of the hood. So from there, I was in between two tools. I didn't plan this out, so let me grab these tools real quick. Just one second. This garage is a dump. I apologize. Just one second. Okay, and we're back. So you really have two options of tools to use on this thing. So this right tool is a multi-tool. I didn't have the blade for it, but you can get a blade. It's an oscillating tool. It just oscillates front to back, and it would make a really sharp, precise cut with like a rounded blade that would go on that, kind of like a crescent-shaped blade. I thought I was going to do it that way. I'd seen videos on that, but it was kind of tedious. I think it took a while. I had a real steady hand. So then I saw Vet on Vet 757, I think is his name. I think his name's Mark. I subscribed to his channel, and I saw him use a jigsaw. I thought, well, okay. I think he mentioned an aluminum blade. This is a fine tooth blade I had. You can see how fine that tooth is on there. So I used that blade for the initial cut. It wasn't quite deep enough to get through the brace and the hood. So when I got the whole cut, I switched blades to this guy. He's longer, a little more coarse, but he would actually go all the way through on the hood. So it was stopping. I had a few little notches on the edges where it was coming through, but the middle didn't come out. So I had the whole cut. It's very tedious, and it looks, it's very, what's the word? It's kind of worrisome, and it's intimidating. That's the word. So you got to think, though. I mean, it's a red Corvette hood. There's a lot of red Corvettes. I don't know what color your car is, but you can get another stock hood. They're flat hoods. It's not like it's a specialty hood to start with. So that's what I used to cut it. Like I said, I think I put that on the screen. I taped everything up. You can see what it looks like with the hood taped and ready to go. So obviously placement is crucial, and that's up to you on where you want to lay this thing. I wouldn't go any far forward than what I did, and I'm going to show you right now the dimension. So the measurement from the top on my hole that I cut is, it's hard to see from there. And I've got some overlap, like I said. Let me see if I measure it here. It's about 10 inches, give or take, from the back. 9.5, 10 would be fine. And then obviously you've got your overall template here. You can fudge it. Like I said, you can fudge it about 3/4 of an inch, half an inch, front to back, so that makes it easy. Then I found the hardware I needed, which is M6 x1 nuts. So I grabbed some nuts, flat washers, and locking lock washers, and then I grabbed some aluminum. And the aluminum, I've got it in my pile of junk. This is the aluminum I bought. It's 1/2 inch by 1/16 inch. Flat bar, 1/16, 1/2 inch by 36 inches long. I've got this piece left over. It's like $4. So I can do more. I'll probably do another bracket out of it, maybe to try and get that front to stay down a little bit better, or the side, I guess the side middle to stay down a little bit better. But that's it. So the hardest part is the first holes you drill. So just if you use the jigsaw, it's a lot easier just to do it like this. So the hood is up, and you're literally here, and you're holding the hood, leaning over your car. I've got my leg is up against there, and I'm holding the hood up to make sure it doesn't fall back. And I drilled like 6 holes. I did like a hole here, here. So maybe 8 holes. And then I ran the straight lines first, and then I did the contour on the front. And then I had to go back and knock that brace out. Just went from the front, kind of pushed it down so I didn't ding the front of the hood. Didn't really matter. Like I said, it's all covered. And then for finishing, like I said, I painted the brackets, I built the brackets. I just bent them to make them fit how I wanted to. It's literally just trial and error, just kind of hold it up. I have this actually sitting in there. When I installed it, the front just kind of fell into where I wanted. So it naturally has the more gap at the back, which is fine. I wanted the thing as far forward as I could get, and it really just kind of sat there. So it was pretty easy for me to install it and mock it up. I just made sure I had left, right centered as far as where my hole was, and that was it. So it's pretty easy. Like I said, the brackets are pretty easy to make. I used like a double-sided clear tape underneath them so I wouldn't dinge up the hood and like ding it up, because that metal on that aluminum will win over fiberglass, and I don't want it to, you know, rip holes in it over time and make it lose vibration. So I saw it on a Corvette forum post. Somebody said they used like a 3M double-sided. I had like this clear double-sided alien tape stuff. It worked fine. It compressed really well. It looks kind of weird sticking out, but I don't really care. It's not that noticeable. So it's the next day. I got cut off because we had to go do something as a family, but this is what the vent extractor, whatever it looks like from the inside. So you can see a little bit of a gap in the middle. Obviously the foam right there isn't compressed because of the gap in the contour of the hood, but I don't think it's too bad. I mean, I think it's fine. I'm not sure if you can see the heat coming out. A little bit of a distortion. Not sure if the camera's capturing that. You can see it on the left side, I think. I can see it in person. I'm not sure if it's being captured or not. Just drove it around a little bit. I've got the AC on, sitting here. It's 80 degrees outside. It's the next morning. It's already getting hot here. It's about 8:15 in the morning. Imagine it's going to be a hot one today, probably in mid-90s, so I'll try and get some better video of an idea on how this is helping. AC's been on for about 2 or 3 minutes. I was rolling with the windows down, and it hasn't moved since I've been sitting here, so that's a good sign. So I'm back at the house after that little jaunt. So looking at this gap, and I pulled the bracket back off. I'm gonna give it a little bit more bend. This is the bracket. Obviously it's pretty simple, but I kind of off-center that hole. Oopsie, but still holds just fine. I'm gonna replace that, give it a little bend, and see if I can snug it down. And there's the clear tape on the end there. You can kind of see. Hopefully this will help. Try it on both sides. So that really seemed to help. I went ahead and did both sides. That gap looks a lot better, a little more consistent, not as much of a pooch. Still a little bit of a bump right there between this section, but you can't really do anything about that because there's no fastener there. It's this area here. Can't really tell where I could do anything to help promote that to come down. I guess I could stick something to the back of this, but I mean that's the outside, so you can't go through it to drill anything into it to hold it down. I mean, I think that's pretty much what you get. So did this side too. Looks nice. That's about as good as it's going to get, I think. Pretty happy with it. I may try and get that front to tuck down, but I mean that's pretty darn good right there. I'm not sure that could get any better. I think that's probably about as good as it's going to get. But anyway, the back's nice and flush. The front's really close to flush. I think it's the gap in the hood too that's kind of, I don't know. I think that's, feels like this might be able to be cinched up. Just going by feel, this feels a little bit more flush. So I may probably bend that one down a little bit. Anyway, pretty good fitment overall. Happy with it. Love how the car looks. So until next time, thanks for watching, and hopefully have some better content coming up if I keep doing this stuff. It's just kind of one of those, you know, when I have time, and don't have a ton of free time lately. Lots of kids' activities, and I never think to turn the camera on. So you guys have a good day. Thanks. Take care.